Welcome to the Armando Effect, another episode here with a good friend of mine, Sam. Welcome.
I'm in 2026. I'm trying to go by Samantha. It's
Samantha.
more
Okay.
Formal.
More professional.
More professional.
Okay.
I feel like Sammy was like 21, 22,
Samantha's more
Samantha,
legit. That's it, okay? It's more, it's another level. Okay,
Yeah.
we're in another place. How are you?
Good.
How's real estate treating you?
I just made my 4-year mark, my 4-year
Already?
anniversary. I know.
That's insane.
Time flies.
Yeah, I was thinking the other day, I officially got my license 2020, February, and we're already in 2026.
You got it in 2020?
2020. And right around like the COVID time when
Yeah.
everything was like shutting down, which
Oh
was
my
a
God.
nightmare, by the way, because back then to show, like people didn't want to go, they were
Oh
wearing
my God,
masks.
with the mask. Yes,
Remember that?
I remember
and the
that.
the 6 feet thing?
Yes.
You would go shake somebody's hand and they'd be like,
no.
no,
Get
stay
away from me.
So we've kind of like gone through some very tough markets.
That's for
Sam,
sure.
tell us a little bit about yourself, like who you're with.
So I am with Luxe Properties. I was prior with 2 other brokerages. Luxe Properties, I have been with them since April of 2024, so going on, 2 years. Hands
I've been trying to get her to
down,
come over, by the way. Just putting that as a side note.
not to, I guess toot their own horn, but Luxe Properties, I know Avenue, but there is, from my experience, there's really nothing like Luxe Properties, and I'm not trying to
listening to this?
downplay it.
Are you listening to
or
this?
make you feel bad, but no.
No, they're good.
No, like the hands-on, and the trainings that they provide. Like at the end of the year, she held like a business and like marketing, seminar, and she definitely gives you like good resources. And if I were to call my team lead George Fernandez
They're
on
available.
a Saturday at 10 o'clock, he's like, "What do you need?"
What's their framework? Like when you say she, so she's the broker.
So
The managing broker.
Wesley is our broker.
Okay.
And then she does have, because I want to say, don't quote me on this, but I want to say we have 10 offices.
Okay.
And so you have, Gables is like the main hub where like everyone kind of goes.
That's where you work out of, or you go to?
So yes, I work out of the Gables. And
Okay.
then as far as she has Kendall, I want to say she has Dayland, Tampa, Orlando, like she definitely is expanding and growing, rapidly.
And then
We
you have a
just
team lead that helps you with
Well,
everything.
so yes, and then I am on a team, and
Okay.
then under that team you have George Fernandez, and so that's who I've worked with since literally the first day.
Gotcha.
I, went and had an interview, and then because I kind of felt stuck at the last brokerage that I was at, and I was like, okay, I need to make a change. I had sold a couple properties, and I was only doing rentals, and I feel that's how you start, though. You got to start
Sure,
small.
sure,
A lot of
100%.
people think that rental, like, oh, all she sells is. I had someone tell me, oh, all you do is rentals, and I mean, it was COVID time, so I'm like not selling, but renting, 4 properties a month. I'm making 10 grand,
Yeah.
And that was obviously COVID time. It's not.
Yeah, the rental
as
game is
frequently.
more a volume game for sure.
No, for
know?
sure. It is quicker, turnaround,
Sure,
money,
sure.
that's for sure. But, you have to start somewhere. And at the last brokerage that I was at, I just kind of felt like I was at a standstill. And so it's like, okay, it's a new year. I need to level up. I need to do something. And so, so I ended up coming across Luxe Properties, and I interviewed, and I was like, okay, I don't need to really go
And
anywhere else.
not to put out the other one's name, but what did you like? Just so that realtors kind of see the different experiences. What did you feel when you said when you say you felt stuck? What was it, that they didn't have like leads, that you couldn't really contact anybody for help?
It was a very small boutique brokerage.
Okay.
So it wasn't. I don't feel like they had like maybe like the tools, or maybe it was a one-man show kind of.
Gotcha.
So when you have a one-man show, sometimes it takes a village, and that's in anything, honestly. And so
Especially when you're starting out. And
yes,
and you need a lot of hands-on.
And
and all
no,
that.
for sure. There were contract questions that I had sometimes, and I was like, hello. And there was no, like at Luxe Properties, we on like our My Luxe Hub, we have a tab where we could submit our contract and we write a note, and like the contract specialist will reach out and I could say, hey, I don't understand line, I don't know, 29 in the as is,
and they'll specify,
contract.
explain
And
everything how it is.
she'll literally call you
Awesome.
within like 30 minutes, obviously if it's a working day, and she'll explain to you in depth, and yeah, just the things that, or I guess the tools that she gives us, and like she wants us to succeed. And it's not, she wants us, I want to say we're like, don't quote me on this, but we had a meeting yesterday, and they're still doing final numbers for 2025, but we're on, I want to say we sold like $1 billion this year, as obviously that's she has like 660 agents, if I'm not mistaken.
It's a big team.
It's a lot, given not every single one is
sure, that's always the case.
But for the most part, you have most people are selling 10, 15, 20 million a year, and that's.
And how are you doing now for like leads, clients? We were talking a little bit about the marketing. You were saying you want to take it a little better with it.
I most definitely need to get better when it comes to marketing. I need to put myself out there.
A little more consistent on the content and all that.
Yes, a lot of people are like, oh my God, it's cringe. And I'm like, it's 2026. Nothing's cringe anymore.
You need it. Listen,
yeah.
I feel like
it's
the people
cringe
that say
until
it's cringe
not.
Until it's not. And I used to feel that way too, by the way, because the whole content and marketing is not my favorite thing to do either. But when you do it, we were talking about this earlier, right? It's not the first post that's going to get you 10 clients.
Yeah.
It's the compounded interest that
it's
eventually.
It's like the 7th or the 8th.
It gets the flow.
Yeah.
And then it's not only that, it's just getting people to say like, okay, Sam is an agent.
Yeah.
Samantha, right? That's what we're going by?
Samantha.
That's the professional one. Samantha's an agent. Samantha does that. All your friends. It targets your inner circle first. And then as you expand, anybody that you refer to your Instagram, they see, okay, she's legit. She's doing showings, she's doing closings, it really helps you create your presence.
Yeah.
And in 2026, if you're not doing social media marketing, if you're not doing content,
you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong. With any business, by the way.
Yeah. No,
but
that's
especially
anything.
with real estate.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I saw you were doing some deals now, like far north, right? Like she was on the road the other day doing an inspection over there.
Port and St. Lucie, 2 hours and 20 minutes. It took me 4 hours and 30 minutes to get home for traffic.
Okay.
But yeah, I have a deal under contract. We're set to close on or before February 2nd.
Beautiful.
And yeah, single family home.
Finance deal?
So yes, it is a conventional loan.
Okay.
But yeah, a close relative of mine, reached out and was like, hey, I think we're ready to pull the trigger. And so we set up, 6, 7 showings at once, and they're like, that's the one. And I was like, okay, here's the BBA, please sign.
Perfect, yeah. We were talking about that too, right? Like sometimes it's happened to me too, like when you have to go too far up north, let's say you gotta drive an hour, 2 hours, that's the best way to knock it out. You put 7, 8 properties in one day and try, because if you're doing 2 one day, 2 the following weekend, you're killing gas, time. Yeah. It's crazy, and time is money, so at the end of the day, all these 2-hour drives are not good.
You have to work smarter, and not, especially in this business, work smarter, never harder.
How is we were talking about this as well, like the realtor life in terms of difficulty? Explain to them a little bit about the reality of being a real estate agent.
Well. I feel you guys make so much money. That's the first thing. Oh, but you sold this property and made, I don't know, I'm just throwing out a number, $20,000.
Exactly. You get paid too much. That's one that I hear a lot. You get paid too much.
Yes, yeah. But I don't think people understand like the amount of like work and like just, I wouldn't even say like so much like dealing with clients, because it's your client, so you know how they are and how they operate. But you have agents that obviously I don't want to badmouth anyone, but that are not cooperative, take 3 business days, to answer your phone call, and like I'm essentially making the deal happen.
Yeah, I'm trying to, exactly.
I'm trying to make the deal happen.
Exactly.
Do you not want to make $10,000, $15,000?
Because there's the layers of difficulty, right? There's the client, which it's our client, we're trying to do right by them. You have to play a little bit of a psychological aspect.
Yeah.
And then I think the worst one is what you just mentioned. And a lot of people don't realize that part is the agents you work with sometimes are, again, not to badmouth anybody, but they're tough, man. They're tough. Yeah. And it's like, bro, you're getting paid if you close, right?
But even so much like as a seller's agent, like of course whoever you're representing, you want to do what's right by them, and provide first class excellent service. And I recently closed a deal where the agent, I went to the showing,
Everything,
appraisal,
appraisal.
inspection.
Nowhere to be found, the
No,
agent.
nowhere. Armando, she could walk in here right now and I would not know who that woman is. And we're making, I'm doing twice, the work. And not so much, I mean, don't get me wrong, selling a property, being on the seller side versus the buyer side, you have some sellers that can be difficult, and they have like that, oh, well, we brought home our firstborn in this house, or oh, we've lived here for 30 years. Like there is attachment, to the house.
Absolutely.
But it same goes, for, the buyers. Like I don't remember, like I saw like a post the other day where it said like 60% of home buyers like cry like 3 times like throughout the whole entire like home buying process.
It's stressful.
And it's
stressful.
definitely.
And by the way, I
super
feel like
stressful.
as agents, our job is to make that process less stressful.
Yes.
Because
yeah.
the buyers go through like stages, right? There's almost like the excitement stage,
yes.
right? You're
And they're
really
like, oh my
excited,
God, I have
and then the
cold
remorse
feet.
one.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it all happens while you're under contract in this
100%.
process. So it's kind of our job. Again, this is where the psychology part comes into it. To kind of keep them very relaxed.
Yeah.
And then as a result, we have to stay relaxed,
No, for
because
sure.
we can't get stressed out. We're dealing with so many. The agent is the center point of the transaction. And when people tell me, oh, you guys get paid too much, we connect everybody, right? Title, lenders, appraisals.
I'm sending emails at 9:30 at night sometimes.
Exactly.
I previously did a deal down in Homestead.
Okay.
And the deal was like slipping through the cracks, and I was doing everything and anything to save the deal. Luckily, we closed. But the buyer would call me at like 9:30 at night, and I would have to sit there and talk to him for like 40 minutes. And I'm like, I give them, options, we should like go this route, do this. And so
you're the face of the transaction.
For
100%.
Sure. Yeah.
We have a listing now, Masi and I, in the Gables, and the seller has a lot going on. And same thing, there's sometimes I take calls for an hour with this guy, where he's just venting to me and telling me his problems, and it's part of the game. It's part of the game. It's one of the things that we deal with in the transaction.
100%. I closed a deal last year, like middle of the year, and my seller was very, complicated. But I had to do, what I had to do. And you have some sellers, that are stuck, COVID. My house is, obviously the market has died down.
100%.
So
it's a shift, for sure.
Yeah, you have sellers that are, I believe my house is worth, 800, let's just say 800,000. And I'm like, numbers don't lie.
You have to give them a reality check.
I'm like,
very
the
nice.
highest sold for, 657. I don't know where you're getting 800
You
from,
can list at 800, but you're going to have it there for a year. You know what I mean? So
or longer.
We have to give reality checks. We have to deal a lot with rejection. We have to deal a lot with, there's a lot of emotions involved in this process.
Yeah.
It's the biggest transaction for many people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And the deal I just closed in November in Cutler Bay was I work out at her gym.
Okay.
And so she just happened to reach out to me, and she's like, hey, like we're browsing, like can you assist us? Can you help us? And it's crazy. They're a young, couple, make, great money combined, and they were looking in Kendall, originally, and like 650 purchase price, that's a decent.
Pretty decent.
Yeah.
Of course.
And they were priced out. They couldn't. They unfortunately couldn't afford. So we went down to Cutler Bay, and I live in Cutler Bay, so I was like, look, this is like my stomping ground. I could tell you.
I know every in
and out.
Exactly.
And so luckily I showed him about maybe 8 or 9 properties. We worked. We were actively looking, and seeing properties for maybe 2 months.
Okay.
And I want to say it was house number 10, and they fell in love with it.
House number 10.
House number 10.
That's a lot of showings.
No, it's a lot of showings.
That's a lot of showings.
Yeah. And and it's crazy because I feel like when it comes to showing properties, you may think that, how do I word this? You never know what a property looks like until you're in the house.
100%.
And so I had come across this property, and it was the one they ended up purchasing, and I was like, I never sent it to him like on the list, that I sent. And it had been on the market for some time. It was overpriced. And so I was like, you know what? I was like, I think they're gonna like this. I was like, this is not really their like criteria that we've been looking at, but I think they're gonna fall in love. Sure enough, we were in the process of countering with this other house, so we were about to be under contract with, and they fell in love, and they're like, wow, we would have never looked at this house, but like, thank you, Sam. And she's like, we love it.
You gave them another perspective and they went with it.
Yeah, and they bought it, and we were under contract for $625, and it appraised at $650. So they
beautiful.
Walked
some
in,
equity.
yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, brand new roof, new plumbing, everything, tile, like
It's
kitchen,
a
everything
good
redone.
time, I think, to go through that, because since it's kind of shifting to a buyer's market.
Oh, yeah.
You're able to get better deals, and we talk about this all the time here: concessions, credits, for closing costs. So it is kind of becoming a better.
So to piggyback off that, the deal that I have in Port St. Lucie.
Okay.
We just received appraisal back, and so we're under contract for
fast.
Yeah.
You got under contract like not even a week ago, I think. No?
Very, very fast. Yes.
Jeez, okay.
Yeah. And so we received appraisal back. We're under contract for $455, and the appraisal came in at $485.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah,
There you go.
And yeah, I got them a $2,000 credit towards that closing cost.
The closing costs. Had you run comps prior and kind of knew it was going to come back at 480?
Yes, the neighbor sold for $500,000.
Okay. So you kind of knew. Yeah.
I knew.
But the property
more or
had
less,
been on the market for how long?
The property had been on the market for a while. So
you
I used that as my leverage.
Your leverage
unfortunately, it was corporate owned, so they bought out a partner, and whoever appraised the value of the property then, and when it was literally in May, appraised it like extremely high. I don't know if it was a private appraisal. I'm assuming. I genuinely don't know. But yeah, they appraised it very high, and they realized that the market was not.
Was there any price drops like in the history of the property?
100%. It was listed.
That's something very common now. Like a lot of price drops.
You see that all there. People were either. I feel like it's one thing or the other. People were either sticking to their guns, and they're like, this is what the house I feel like is worth, or what I'm going to sell for, or they are either priced like it's a price decrease like once a week or once every other week, depending on how.
Yeah, when you look at the history, it looks so bad because it's just decreased.
No, it's decreased. What's going on here? Yeah, it's like is there a hole in the roof? What's going on?
Exactly, but it's just a shift, right? Which is it's a good thing. I have a lot of buyers telling me like, is it a good time to buy? Because there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yes.
But no, it is a good time to buy.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I feel also that sellers aren't losing out because they have so much equity. So it's like, okay, you're not making the COVID gains and profit, but you're still making a bunch of money. So this was a correction that I think was necessary in the market, right?
No, for sure.
With the rates coming down, with the prices kind of becoming a little more stagnant now,
you
couldn't sustain an 8 to 10% increase in prices every year.
Yeah.
It was unsustainable.
No,
Yeah. So if anything, I think it's a positive thing. I think we're in a better market now.
We definitely are. And now it's opening, the buyer pool is becoming larger because now people are saying, oh, okay, look, interest rates have dropped. It's made it a little more affordable.
Sure.
And let's make a move. And I feel like that the time is
the time is right.
Is now. I mean, I sold in the beginning of 2025. I sold a 2.5 like townhouse condo. It wasn't considered a lot in block, so I considered it a condo.
Okay.
And she was, I want to say we purchased it. She purchased it for maybe like $260.
Okay.
And she was the definition of, when I say credit is everything, she was the definition of like an A+ like
on
buyer.
point, everything super.
Yeah, 780. No, her debt to income ratio. There was.
Barely any
nothing.
debt.
Yes.
Exactly.
And so my lender and I locked her in at, I believe, like a 5.75.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. And that's a good rate for now. I mean, considering that we were in the 7s at some point.
No, it was phenomenal.
It's a great rate right now.
Yeah. She had a previous lender that I kind of she actually came through Zillow, but I recognized her friend that she had brought to the showing with, and so we connected, because sometimes people like you meet on Zillow and they're like, oh, that's just like, I don't know her, that's just a Zillow agent that picked up the phone call, But luckily I was able to like build rapport, and her friend, knew me. So I was able, to kind of, take her under my wing and kind of showed her. But yeah, her lender was like giving her like, at the time, was giving her like some outrageous, like interest rate, and you need this and points and stuff like that. And I was like, come over here.
It's working with the right people.
No, for sure.
And speaking of Zillow, how's your experience with Zillow right now? Are you liking it?
I was on a Zillow buyer team. Right when I joined Luxe Properties, I joined on the team, and I was converting at my real-time tourings. I was a number one converter. I was converting at a 10%. Like, I was really killing it. Kind of took a step back just for like personal reasons. I did join her sellers team, and then the holidays came around. I joined her sellers team like in October.
The slower time.
The slowest time, and which kind of, I've always said sometimes you need to take 5 steps back in order to get 10 steps forward.
Sure.
And so that kind of made me like sit back and kind of realize like, okay, this is what I need to do, or I need to fix this. And so I was like, you know what, let me have a fresh mind. It's, a new, year.
Reset a little bit, start from zero.
So I went ahead and I just rejoined her buyers team.
Okay.
And so I just started maybe getting leads again, on, I want to say like maybe like the 5th of January.
Okay.
And
so
believe it or not, I don't want to speak too soon, but was just in passing conversation. I was in the service industry prior to joining real estate. So I could talk to a wall if like I wanted to. Like, I could talk
very outgoing,
yes.
Which is good for this job.
That's 100%. So that's so I was talking to him, and he came up to me and he's like, hey, I'm thinking about potentially like selling my house. And we got to talking on what it is. It's 5 acres in Homestead,
Beautiful.
Huge, yeah.
Beautiful.
And so 3 days prior, I had received a lead that was looking at something like that. So I called him and I was like, hey, look, I may have something it's off market. He does potentially want to list. I'm actually meeting with him on Friday.
Beautiful.
We're gonna iron out like all the details and stuff like that. But I'm hoping that I could, bring that Zillow buyer, and it'll be personal.
On both sides you represent as well.
That'll be,
We
cool.
have one in the Redlands. I'm gonna send you that one. It's also for 4.5, 10 acres. Maybe you can,
10
just
acres?
in case. Just in case this one doesn't work out.
Yeah.
I'll send you that option.
Okay.
So you see, we're making some business here live on the podcast. So Sam, so we can kind of like wrap this up. What advice would you give now you've been in the game for a little bit? Agents that are just starting off, like what would you tell somebody that's fresh, just got their license, aside from picking the right team, which of course he's gonna disagree with me on that, but aside from picking the right team, what advice would you give agents in terms of like practices that they should do? Like, how should they start,
Hustle, call everyone, talk to everyone. Hey, you don't have to necessarily say I'm a new agent, but hey, I sell real estate in such and such area, how I remember going to my first listing appointment, and it was a rental that I had closed, and the seller had reached out to me and he's like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, which of course I'm not going to forget you, but he's like, I don't know if you remember me, but you brought me a tenant. It was an off market. He was a for rent by owner on Zillow, and so it was an off market lease. And so I had brought him a tenant, and then he reached out and he's like, do you want to list my house? And I was like, it was my first like ever listing, and I was like, oh my God. And I remember calling one of my good friends at the time that had been in the game. He's been in the game for like now like 15 years.
I got something.
And I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And he's like, say yes. And so sure enough, that was a long time ago now. But yeah,
basically hustle. It's something this is something that a big message I've been trying to convey to people, right? In a lot of our podcasts, when I talk to lenders, realtors, I've been trying to remove a little bit of the glamour of the game, because again, people see us from the outside and think that
the thing is people see,
the beautiful things, the closings,
people see the closings, people see the vacations that you're taking, people see the things that, you purchase, and stuff like that. People also see, the Netflix shows, like what is it, Selling Sunset.
It's not,
Sirhan
and this and that, exactly.
Yes. I mean, it is possible, you sell a $20 million, property,
1,000.
you are going
it's
to make,
it's not to discourage anybody from joining the industry. It's just almost like a reality check, right? Because I feel like it's important to bring value to people and new agents to let them know this is a grind.
No, a lot of
This is a
people
grind,
think that
you
it
know?
is like butterflies and rainbows, and it could be, you know,
Yeah.
and you do have deals where you're like, wow.
They
like,
make up for the bad ones,
oh, yes,
for sure. For
this
sure.
was a breeze. Like I
Yes.
showed, you know, I'm closing a commercial deal. I have a walkthrough tomorrow. And she was actually referred by the deal that I closed in Cutler Bay in November, the gym owner. And she had, you know, she told me, she reached out to me, she's like, hey, you know, my name is so-and-so. I heard really good things about you. I would love your help. And so I was, you know, yeah. And so just, you know, something like that. I opened the door once, and you know, I signed a lease, you know, for 3 years. So you know, I'm making commission off, you know, all the 3 years, you know, which is phenomenal.
But from that one like easy deal, she might have gone through 6 or 7 difficult deals, you know?
Well, so I normally, I stick to, I would like to stick to, you know, like selling properties, you know, versus renting. It's obviously a bigger, you know, outcome. But I will, like I had a friend reached out to me. He was like, hey, I am looking for like a little rental. Like my girlfriend and I are, you know, moving out. We're looking for a 2-2 condo. And I was like, yeah, for sure, I can help you. And you know, they ran me around. I saw maybe like 11 properties with them, and you know, my check after everything was probably $500.
For 11
you know,
properties.
So yeah.
For 11 properties.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So again, there's the easy ones that make up. Exactly.
Yeah.
You take the good with the bad and the hustle. I think that's a good message to kind of like end on a good note.
But I think, I guess we can leave off on this. Hustle, it has to be in you. Like that's something that you can't be taught. Like work ethic, you have to have. And so like just like for example, like I was the first grandchild, you know, I was spoiled. Anything that I got, you know, I wanted, but I worked for it. I make sure I got good grades, you know.
I mean, as far as back as I've known
no,
you,
for sure.
Been,
and you know, growing up, you know, my grandparents, you know, obviously came to this country, you know, had nothing, created, you know, a life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was 70, pushing 75, and he gets up every morning and still, you know, works. And you know, he has his own business, so it's a little different. But I've seen, you know,
still,
that hustle, and
you've seen it.
You just,
I mean, listen, I've known. We were talking about this now, like Sam, for like maybe 7 years.
7.
And I remember years ago, she was even like before real estate, doing like vending machines. Remember when you were trying to get into that? So you're right. That's something that has to kind of come with you. You have to be okay with rejection. You have to be okay with taking no's and continuing. You know,
you're gonna get 10 no's before you get a yes.
But every no is one step closer to a yes.
100%, and every
100%.
no, the way I see it, is a learning opportunity and a learning, you know, lesson. And you just, you know, those no's, you can't let it, you know, defeat you. You have to take it with a grain of salt, and you know, keep it moving.
Have thick skin. Take nothing personal. It's part of the game.
No,
You know?
when I'll never forget my first ever rental that I did. I was so excited. I had showed him like 4 or 5 properties. It wasn't anything too crazy, and we got under contract. And we had an executed CTL, and I was like, okay, you know, we're gonna have to deposit first month's rent, you know, and then we'll get the lease. And he ghosted me. I cried. Damn. Yeah, I mean, I was like 21, you know, at the time.
But it's part of that. Listen, we've all cried in this game.
I'll never
depression.
Forget.
Woke up in the morning.
Yes. I was like, he ghosted me. Yeah.
It's tough.
No,
but the reward is definitely good. And thank you, Sam, for coming on. And hopefully, you know, we'll be doing some business. You know, Samantha. I'm sorry, guys. I keep saying Sam, but 2026 is our year, and wishing you nothing but the best.
Same for you.
Awesome, guys.
Big things coming.
We'll see you on the next episode. Take care. Damn.